In the world of politics, once dirt always finds a way of coming out. In some cases, quite literally. I am Joey Brescia, and together with my partner Shaira Mayor, we are going to uncover the truth behind one of the most peculiar controversies in Philippine history, the Golden Arinola of Elpidio Quirino. Before we get into the Golden Arinola issue, let us first take a moment to understand what an Arinola is and how it was used during the time of Elpidio Quirino.
An Arinola, also known as a chamber pot or a portable toilet, is commonly used before the widespread availability of indoor plumbing. It was typically a small container or vessel used for urination, especially during the night or in the absence of a nearby restroom. The use of an Arinola was a common practice in households before modern sanitary facilities like flush toilets became widely available. For our grandparents, an Arinola was an essential item that could never be missing from a home. In the old design of Filipino houses, bathrooms were often separate from the main living areas. That's why this portable toilet became so popular. An Arinola would be placed beside or under the bed for individuals to use at night, particularly in rural areas or homes without plumbing. In the morning, the contents of the Arinola would be disposed of by pouring its contents into an actual toilet or other waste disposal system. Traditionally, Arinolas were made from plastic, porcelain, or metal materials. They often had a lid and a handle for easy transport and use, particularly in bedrooms. Some Arinolas were decorated, especially in wealthier households where they might be more ornate in design. The use of the Arinola was part of daily life, especially in rural or less developed areas of the Philippines. By the time of President Quirino's administration from 1948 to 1953, many homes, particularly in urban areas, were transitioning to modern plumbing and indoor toilets. However, chamber pots remained a part of daily life in less developed regions or areas that had not yet fully embraced modern sanitation infrastructure. By the 1950s, the practice was becoming increasingly outdated. For the wealthy or elite, an Arinola could be seen as a sign of old-fashioned luxury or convenience, especially when compared to the more modern facilities emerging at the time. It is within this context that the myth of the Golden Arinola began to take shape.
Now let's talk about the man at the center of this controversy, Elpidio Quirino.
Elpidio Rivera Quirino was a Filipino lawyer and politician who served as the 6th President of the Philippines from 1948 to 1953. After World War II, Quirino was elected Vice President in the April 1946 presidential election. After the death of incumbent President Manuel Rojas in April 1948, he succeeded to the presidency. Quirino inherited with the office the challenge of rebuilding a Philippines physically and spiritually destroyed by World War II. He won a full term under the Liberal Party, defeating Nacionalista former President Jose P. Laurel, as well as fellow Liberalista and former Senate President Jose Dira Avellino. Quirino ran for president again in November 1953. But with a tarnished reputation, he was defeated by Ramon Magsaysay in a landslide. This election has been described as one of the dirtiest in Philippine history. The Liberal Party was swept into power in elections where plants, animals, and even the dead cast their ballots. Elpidio Quirino had many achievements during his 6-year term. These includes economic recovery. The Philippine economy rebounded after World War II due to post-war reconstruction. Social security. Quirino established a 7-point Social Security program, the Social Security Commission, and the President's Action Committee on Social Amelioration. Foreign relations. Quirino improved the Philippines' relationship with the international community and increased economic aid from the United States. He was known as the father of foreign service. Armed Forces. Quirino improved the state of the Philippine Armed Forces and increased counterinsurgency measures. Agrarian Reform. Quirino established the Land Settlement Development Corporation to expand the government's peasant resettlement program. Pardoning of prisoners of war. Quirino pardoned more than 100 Japanese prisoners of war despite the suffering he and his family endured during the Japanese occupation. However, as described by the military historian Jose Custodio, Elpidio Quirino was not your typical Pinoy. He was cosmopolitan, aristocratic, speaks Spanish and is Tisoy. This, according to him, made Quirino a magnet for allegations like indifference towards the masses.
Now, let's go to the connection between Quirino and the Arinola. The Golden Arinola scandal involved claims that President Elpidio Quirino owned a golden arinola or chamber pot during his presidency. This allegation was used by his political opponents to suggest that he was indulging in luxury at the expense of Filipino people. The scandal became a major talking point and was widely covered in the media, contributing to a negative perception of Quirino's administration. So with that, since the arinola or the chamber pot was prominent during President Quirino's time, it is not new to the eyes of many Filipinos, whether it is made of plastic, metal, or porcelain. But during the 1950s, may kumalat na balita about the president having a golden arinola. Kumbaga, maihahalin tulad natin siya sa labubu or sa Louis Vuitton bags ng panahon natin ngayon, which is alam naman natin na costly sila. So, if meron ka niyan, some will raise their eyebrows and will question you kung saan galing ang pera mo to buy such things. Especially naman if hindi nila yun commonly nakikita sa'yo. And most especially kung may alam sila or kung may pwede silang paghinalaan na kung saan galing yung perang pambili mo nun. And that's what happened to Quirino kasi he is the president during that time. So, people speculated na it was from the people's money. In addition to that, it's not only the golden arinola but they've also added na bumili din siya ng worth 5,000 pesos na kama using the people's money. So, it's not a really good influence to his political career. Now let's go to the political controversy that it brought. The scandal was leveraged by Quirino's political rivals to attack his character and leadership. They used the story of the Golden Arinola to paint a picture of corruption and extravagance, which resonated with the public and media. This controversy was a significant factor in the political discourse of the time. Well, some historians believe that these accusations was started by journalists kasi raw po nung panahon daw po nila, if they wrote something or if they published something into a newspaper or something like that, people will assume that it is entirely true. Since he was one of those politicians with, let's say, the strongest governance or influence on people, his political rivals saw the opportunity to stain his image for them to weaken his influence on people. And they used the controversy of the Golden Arinola against him para yung chances niya of winning the next presidential election is malilesen. So now let's talk about its impact on his reputation. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the story stuck in the public's mind and was a symbol of the alleged corruption in his administration. This negative perception played a role in his defeat in the 1953 presidential election, as voters were swayed by the image of a leader out of touch with the common people. Those allegations that are thrown onto him made a really big impact on his reputation. Even though those accusations lack concrete evidences, still naniwala yung mga tao doon kasi based on those characteristics na nakikita nila kay Elpidio Quirino na he is a cosmopolitan, an aristocrat, knows how to speak Spanish and also Tisoy. Doon nila nakuha yung image na hindi siya makamasa. Now, let's move on to the factors that influenced it. To answer the question, what added fuel to the fire? So the first factor is the media reports. The connection between Quirino and the Golden Arinola was largely fueled by media reports, especially those by journalist Armando J. Malay in the Manila Chronicle. It is a newspaper. These reports brought the alleged scandal to the forefront of public attention, sparking widespread discussion and debate. So, isa sa mga nag-push sa issue na to are those media reports na sinimulan ng journalist na si Armando J. Malay sa kanyang publication sa The Manila Chronicle. Yung mga reports na yon sa The Manila Chronicle, it caught so many attention na kung saan naging usap-usapan siya, naging apple of the eye siya ng mga panahong yon, which evoked more debates and discussion throughout their time. Next on the list, Senate hearings. The allegations about the Golden Arinola were taken seriously enough to be discussed in Senate hearings. Although the claims were never substantiated, the fact that they were debated in such a formal setting gave the scandal an air of legitimacy and kept it in the public eye. So, another factor na nakapagpalala sa isyung to is ang pagiging present nito sa mga Senate hearings na kung saan yung mga political rivals niya, ginamit ito para ma-impeach siya or i-process yung impeachment. Pero later on, hindi naman ito napatunayang totoo kaya dinismissed yung impeachment process. Pero the fact na pinag-usapan siya sa korte, it gave the people the idea na it was a serious accusation. Kaya hindi na natanggal sa pangalan ni Elpidio yung Golden Arinola. Lastly, the public perception. The combination of media coverage and political debate shaped public perception of Quirino's administration. The scandal, along with other allegations of corruption, reinforced the image of a government plagued by excess and dishonesty. This perception was a significant factor in the decline of Quirino's popularity and his eventual electoral defeat. Sa pamamagitan ng mga factors na yon, dito na pumasok yung perception ng mga tao na his governance was filled with dishonesty and corruption. Kaya naman nung dumating yung presidential election noong 1953, hindi na siya pinalad na manalo.
Propaganda shapes public perception. Propaganda, whether true or not, has a strong influence on how people view leaders. In Quirino's case, the Golden Arinola myth cost him his reputation. Verify facts before believing rumors. The Golden Arinola was never proven to exist, showing the importance of fact-checking before accepting or spreading information. Criticism can overshadow achievements. Quirino's presidency saw many feats, but these were often overshadowed by his Golden Arinola controversy. It shows how criticism, even baseless, can obscure significant accomplishments. Public opinion is powerful in politics. The controversy highlights how public perception can shape a leader's legacy. The Arinola story became more memorable than any of Quirino's policies, illustrating how easily public opinion can be swayed by sensational stories. Historical figures deserve objective evaluation. The Golden Arinola issue reminds us to look beyond scandals and assess leaders based on their broader impact on history.
People's focus on a leader's lifestyle reflects public frustration during hard times. A leader's legacy is shaped by both their actions and the story told about them. Rumors can harm a leader's reputation even if they aren't true. An ordinary object like an Arinola can carry a strong message of discontent. And lastly, media and opposition can use exaggerated stories to influence how people feel. With the context of these allegations, as citizens, it is crucial for us to verify first before believing in any informations that we are encountering. And as for President Elpidio Quirino, who's been a victim of false accusations, even up to this day, the Golden Arinola issue is being linked upon his name. Now, that ends our discussions. Hanggang sa muli, paalam!